My name is Pietro Lace. I'm going to show you the new fun dashboard. And I'm sure that all of you have an idea what a dashboard is, but I'll show you what we have and how it works for you. Most of you know who I am. I've been in component control for some time, and I've pretty much had every position you can have in component control almost, from support to implementation to training to network services, from hardware and software, from this to that. And now I'm the director of advanced services, which is pretty much just a few people that go around and show users that have been on Quantum for quite some time what we have that's new, how to smooth out different processes by using what we have. So things like imaging to event manager to dashboard, how to use all the new technology for portal and how to make it work for you to smooth out all of these changing kind of business logics and process. So it's actually doing really well. We save a lot of time. We save, just an event manager alone, we save people days of work just by automating basic functions. With Crystal reports and with dashboard, things like that, you're going to actually see that you can actually see what's happening in your business in one shot, and you'll see how that will help you in the long run. So as we move on, the dashboard. The dashboard is a quick interface to your database, to how your business works. It is not a giant report, not a giant multi-level Crystal report that we can deliver to your site once a week. It's a view to what's happening, a view to what's happening in your shop, a view to your AR balances, a view to pretty much everything you want to see. The data is all there, and unless you want to open up and run a report every time and do this, you can have now a quick interface where you can see what's happening. And it can be in an active mode or a passive mode. You can have it sit in your warehouse and show things that are happening, or you can actually have it on the desktop and interact with it. And in this seminar, I'm going to show you how it goes together. And it's not that it's a project that we made. It is something we put together, but it's something where you guys can do everything to it after you purchase the module. It's something that's simple, something that you can have up and running in 10, 15 minutes. And we put together 20 or so basic apps to it, and you can build whatever you want after that. It comes with about a 20-page instruction manual. It'll show you how to do pretty much the 4 or 5 basic things that I'll show you here, and then pretty much you can do what you want to. If you can write a SQL statement, you can build an app. Usually at the very beginning, when I first started playing with this, I would just copy out Crystal report and copy the SQL into these, and then it would run that way. And it was, in 5 minutes, I had a graph, I had everything I wanted. So the magic of this is not that it's just, that it's our module, it's that it's easy to run. So you don't have to call us if you want something done. So if you want a field or something like that, you don't need to. You can actually add the field yourself. You can put it there, it shows up in 2 seconds. So I'll show you how the project goes together, and then we can go through it. Okay, the back end of the dashboard is built in Microsoft technology. It's something we can just dig into it. All of your IT guys know what it is. It's really simple. You just make your server into a web server using IIS. So that will be just a basic role on the server. Just turn it on. Install .NET. So this is all written in ASP.NET. So just install .NET on the machine. And this chart is a program that we set that it's a Microsoft product that you just install, and it shows you have graphs, things like that. And also SQL queries. So it's something that's nothing special. That's nothing special. If the server dies, it comes with IIS. You put it on there, just copy that together again, and drop our files. That's all it is. Basically, about on your server in about 10 minutes. We drop the files in, drop our files in, and then web server. It's all ready to go. So internally, then everybody has access to this dashboard, and then you can figure out how you want it to make that. This is what the basic dashboard looks like. This is our little Tesla logo. Sorry. There we go. So these are your logos here. You can change this configuration color however you want to. This is just because green is here. It starts up the level of categories. You see here, the sales, everything green are the major categories. So think about the logic you would do it. This is kind of built on the premise that we have module-wise. But you can do however you want to do it. You can do sales quoting or just sales orders or operations, however you want to break this down so it makes more sense to you. It works. We've done something similar to the crystal report groups. So if you can build those groups similar, it all depends. I've seen people make no groups, make really, really minute groups, and then have really large groups. So it depends how you want to do it. Under the groups, you have the white part here are the dash pages. The pages are what you see here. What you're going to see in the next section. It'll show you just your full page. You can have as many of these little dashes that you're going to want in one page. You can have whatever's practice, 4, 6, 10. In one page or just one, you want things to be large on one page. And this is where the security starts. You can have now added security to those dash pages. So now you decide who's going to see what. And I'll show you the security how it works a bit later. So now you'll know how you're going to start restricting your people, your quantum users, your non-quantum users. If everybody sees, everybody not see, and we'll show you how that works. Inside of that, you're going to have your dashes. The dashes I'll show you in just a moment. That's where your data comes from. Those are your SQL statements. That's how you put these little data things together. And you'll see these little grids. Also, here of course is SysDBA, but when you log in, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get your username and password, and your quantum username and password. When you log into it, that's your first level of security. Once you get in there, now you can set things up a little differently per user, but this is what you're first going to get. Right now, we defaulted it to SysDBA. Here's your security tab. The first thing you're going to do, when this is all set up, is go through. On this side, you can see all the available quantum users, and this is where you're going to add the dashboard. Not all quantum users are going to be accessible to the dashboard. By default, this is SysDBA. So when you log in to this, you're going to just drag and drop your users from this side to that side, and then just say, now they're available to add to all of your security, all your dashboards. So there's a category, the category page, everything here. Now this is under categories, this is annual, and you'll see all of these dashboards. This is what I'm talking about dashboards here. This is where all your data comes from. This is a four dashboard, 1 by 2 is called, so you have 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. If your screen is big enough, let's say for you have a warehouse screen that's really big, you can put a lot of it on there. That's fantastic. But you can put 4, and then I'll show you how you can run it in a mode where you'll keep us, what do you call it, mode? Yeah, so you can run it through, and it will show you different things on the screen. So it'll keep floating through. Okay. Again, with the dash pages, that's the page there's 4 on the screen. This is where we add dash pages. So after you add it, actually I'm going to start doing it around. First thing I do is create the dashes. So the dash pages, here's how you create it. You go in, title it. So what you do is create one of these, another group. So you created your categories. Now you created your pages. Now what do you want the pages to show? What's going to be what's going to be, how are you going to group these together on these data pages? As you can see now, like this was the sales by part group, these are annual sales of AR drilled down, AR top 10. Each of those pages shows you different things. And you can have them specific to just one dashboard. You can have, let's say this one is going to be margin by department, and that's going to be your only dash page. So you can break it down however you want. From that dash page, then you can just say, okay, this is what I'm going to show, and so when they click on it, they'll know exactly what it is. So added here, you click on this little, you add it here, click on plus, and it adds a dash page. Now, once you have a dash page started, the next step is the security you're going to add to it. Remember we talked about it? You have your quantum users. If you put quantum users here, all quantum users will show up as accessible to that dash page. If you click on permission, then it breaks down and shows you all the users. You can drag and drop the users from quantum users. Private, you can create it yourself. The public, everybody gets to see. A lot of times, public is just information grids. Sales, targets, things like that. But the accounting stuff, all of that usually is all done, it's all done just for the accounting funds. Okay, the dashboard. The dashboards are really, really interesting things. They're built so easily. They are, I mean, some can be complicated, but I found that most of what people are looking for are just basic SQL statements, basic select, groups, things like that you want to see on the street. Things like this, the trends and 12-month margins of my department, sales by department, things like that. They're really easy things to do, and I'm sure if you can write a Crystal Reporter, you can do things like that, you can just drop it in here and do it. I'll show you how we're going to build it out right now. But they're really, really easy things to do. If you want the graph, great. If you want just to show data, you can show data. So here's the creating a dashboard. Same thing, it basically looks all the same. From creating the categories to creating the dash pages to creating the dash lists, it looks all the same. If you look here, they're grouped by categories. So we built that the same way. We have categories basically built like sales orders, quotes, things like that. So you can classify all your outlets where they belong. So if you're going to spend time initially, having someone just build the outlets. Go through, build all the outlets out, put them all in a group, and then someone else decides architecturally how you want to display this data. So if you're gonna have someone spend like an IT guy or something like that, just to write them all, put them all in there, and then you can look at them individually and decide how you're going to display them. So one's more of the IT type of thing, but the other one's more business type of how you want to display these things to people. So you would add your dashboard here, and I click the plus sign, and it would add it to there. So then it would show you down here. So down in the groups. Okay, there we go. That's the name. Now, this is how easy this is. If you want a chart, or you want a grid, you want the data to show, some graph trend, different types of graphs. The choices here for the graphs, once you click the graphs, will show you different types of graphs you want. You want a pie chart. You want different types of graphs, we'll show you here what types of you want. So you can decide here what you want to do. This is the SQL column. This is where we start. So if you put your SQL in here with your data, and I usually try this first, take the SQL, put it in the Quantum, or put it in the SQL developer, run it, make sure it works correctly, and then put it in here. But this won't, if you try to put something bad here, something that's not working, you try to save it, it won't let you save it. It'll error, like something's missing. It'll actually tell you what the problem is. So it won't let you compile those graphs. You try all you want to put something in that's not going to work, it won't let you. So you take it, put it into Quantum, put it in the SQL developer, look at it, make sure that it's what you want, and then you can put it in there and work fine. Or you can try it and play with it here until it works out. This is, you probably won't find this anywhere in any other kind of dashboard program because it's meant to be easy. It's meant to be put everything in, right in one window, you build these dashboards. It's going to be done. It's just 2 minutes. Okay, once you add your SQL, you'll see here are all the fields you added. So here you can rename the name of the field because it's going to show you the name of the field in the SQL, which is not pretty. So you can tell, I want this to be different, I want this to be, count, I want this to be just date, and you can tell it to do, I don't want the ship and timestamp, different things like that. If you have, and I'll show you this, another aspect I'll show you a little later is how to do imaging and contact management. So here you can decide how you want to show. You can move them around, decide how you want to show them, and then you would save it, and that will show you how your final, either your data is going to look when you have a data grid, or how your graphs are going to look. Oops. I'll let it out. Hang on a second. No power. What? Plug yourself back in. Oh, must be loose. Okay. 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 Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what you're going to have actually, that you're probably not going to have in any other dashboard program, is how it's related, how it's integrated with Quantum. If you have any document images or contact attached to these parts of the that you're doing, let's say you have your AR aging report or AR aging, you have everything set up, your grids are all set up. If you click on it, there's a contact attached to it or an image attached to it, you can actually see the image. So, flip back up. So from this, you look at the head right here, you'll see images. If you click on that image there, and you put the type of image you want to see, let's say, I don't know, surface. You put surface there. When you open up the grid, which is here, behind this, you'll see it shows the image there. If you click on it, it shows your surface. Now you won't find anywhere, because this is a technology we built in the back, connected Quantum. So now you can use an imaging server, you won't draw that image out. If there's more than one, it shows the list. If there's more than one image, that type, it shows the list, and you can select which one you want. So if the salesperson is out somewhere else, and they can open up, let's say stock line, and they can actually look at the images remotely without even going into it. So that's what we do with the stock market. The stock market images are there, and you post it all up and you can read it that way. But this is your own. This is all the images there. You click on it and you can do what you want with it. And not just on stock line level, but on any level, on the company. If you have companies up there and they have images, you can do that as well. So, from contact management. Now this is where it gets really, really interesting. It's integrated with contact management as well. So now, if you go into Quantum and you have contacts that are open for something. So your salesperson comes in, goes to the company record, up here it says, okay, he looks at the contact, finds the contact, and he can actually now edit the contact on the web. You can go ahead and click on the plus sign there, and you can add all the data that he wants to, and click OK, and it will be in Quantum. So now, other than just pulling the data out of Quantum, now we're putting data into Quantum. So it's a two-way street now, and that's fundamentally different than most of these data dashboards just pull data out. Now you can go through and add a new contact. And adding a fully new contact is coming. So we're going to get that, it's coming. So we had this in our office. We've been running this for about 2 years in quality control. And all our technicians use this. Because it's easier for them, instead of logging into Quantum every time and actually logging these contacts, they use this quick interface and just log contacts out. So they log it, and now they want to log full contacts, and that's what we're going to get to. So now the salesman can go into the website, add maybe a new customer that they have in restricted mode, and add Rolodex entries to it, and they commit it and goes to Quantum. So it's kind of a slimmed down web version of things you do in Quantum that we do this way. And that's fundamentally different from many dashboards. You can never write that. You just pull data out and you see it. But now you can actually do things, maybe even to a point where you can approve purchase orders. We were just speaking to someone about approving purchasing. And it comes up on the screen. If they have a login that can approve it, they can approve it that way. So interesting things like that can be done now. So we're kind of changing gears a little bit, not just showing, but actually changing things. Also, if you want to see, actually, if anybody wants, we've come up with kind of like 20-page directions of everything, how to do all of this, how to make drill down, things like that, is to show the colors, to show colors in the line, how to prioritize, how to show colors in the grid. It looks like it'd be really easy, but it actually is easy. It just looks a little complicated initially to show how to do color rows and things like that. But it shows you the last step in the direction, how to show you how to do this, how to take the priority and actually say, make it blue, green, yellow, whatever you want to do. So also, what's really, really neat about this is you can do drill downs. So, most of you have pivot tables and Excel and all this complicated stuff to do summaries that pivot off in detail. This is basically the same thing as the graphs. Right now we have a summary here, and I just wrote this for someone not too long ago. They want to know what's shipping out this week. They want to know because everything kind of hits all at once, and they don't want to not be able to ship things out. So they put everything on the dashboard. So now we know that on this day, this is how many sale items are going to ship out. So now you can decide how you want to spread that load in the week. So this doesn't look like that's a day here, but if you have one day you have no shipments and one day you have 300 shipments, you want to spread that load over the week. So that's what this is for. This is for the manager to look at and say, hey, let's kind of spread this out a little bit. So he clicks on this bar here, and you know the graph of what's coming out. So you know who is going to, where it's going to. So then you'll know how to manage all of that. So in this instance, actually, it works out really well. So now the shipping manager doesn't have to go on how to do report things like that. You just look at it and say, well, the basic process is supposed to ship out today. Why don't we move that to tomorrow and move the day after and spread the load a little bit if we're still shipping this thing on market. So little things like that actually do really, really well at managing how your operations go. We've done something where we show who's logged in to time attendance, who are time attendance, and who's not logged into a task. So you know who's floating around and not really logged in anything. You have all these little apples to show you a quick look at what's happening, how much is complete from this task and this work order, how much is finished here. And you see percentage-wise how much is completed just by looking at it, just by looking at the screen. Also, what's really popular, which we have in our office as well, is by user. So let's say you want salesman who logs in only to see everything that's there. That's what we can do too. You build these apples to show and filter by only who's logging in. So the salesman A logs in, the code says use their username, and you're able to see only what's theirs. So you'll see this is quote by salesperson. The salesperson is Stephanie, and those are Stephanie's quotes. And that's the same thing with contacts, whatever. All it is a variable to put into the SQL to say, use the username that logs in. And you can do with anything. So let's say half of these grids would be by username, half would be open just to users, they can see everything, so they can see maybe the summary, and then they can see just what's there, which is fun. But like I said, if you look at it and do one of them, you'll be able to do them all. And it's not for a user. Once you build a variable, it knows that every user is going to be different, and it'll make a grid for every user separate. It actually knows, so we use it now in our office, so when the technician logs in, you can click on the contact button to see everything that he has open. And then you can still go up to the main and see how many are open for everybody. So you can build it a certain way. It's kind of an architecture. You got to think about how you use it in your company, how you break this down, from how the categories go to how you would organize it. Because the data, it's all there. Now, it pretty much makes the quantum database transparent. So not just your report goes out before you run the meeting. Now you can play this stuff during the meeting. You can actually see this stuff flow through all of these summaries as you go. And you can see some of them that maybe you don't even know the quantity is like that. I mean, I put a few there, we didn't know that was like that. We didn't know our inventory values were like that, this was like that was like that. So then you find out what the problems are. So the data is clear. Anything that's in quantum, you can summarize, you can put around, you can look however you want it to look. So by departments, by users, by groups, by whatever you want to see. For this, and I'm going to show you the whole what the dashboard looks like, what we have here. So take home of this. Instead of looking at all these different dashboard solutions, BI, Oracle solutions, all these different things that are really, really expensive, the quantum dashboard, other than storing all the data in quantum, so anything you build, dashboards, all this stuff, is in quantum itself. So no matter what you do, if the web server dies, things happen like that all the time, quantum has everything sorted. So you just throw the files on the web server again, and all the data is there. The passwords are in quantum, the applications, everything's set there. So you just kind of open it up, and there you are, back where you are. Easily customizable. That's my biggest seller for me. It's like once you have it, you never have to call it again. I mean, you can if you want to do it for you, but usually you can run off and take care of all this other stuff. If you're using Jasper and Medium, you can do it. Or something, you want something changed around, do that as well. It's not something that's tied to us for anything that's changed. I mean, things that we've done before in the past, we have to ask for everything we moved around and change. We have to do it. This is not one of those things. This is you write it, you deal with it. And I'm going to try to put something on the Q Group website where you can share applets and things like that, so you don't have to. So you can share with each other. Because usually you want to see happen to the end. We built 20 years ago, we're building more on the kind of standard. So every time you get an upgrade, you'll see more and more standard scripts. But in the end, you're going to share amongst yourself, and we'll give you what we have. And if you guys have good suggestions, something that we have to put in there, we don't have, we'll put it in as well. Admin capacity we talked about, having it on the screen in the warehouse. Even, you know how if you're using shipping management now, you can have the shipping management screen on the board. You can use actually this instead, and it's actually a little bit nicer because now you can color code them differently, prioritize them differently on the screen by company, by group, by different shipping types. You can have that on the board in the shipping group, and you can have a lot of different maybe types of shipping, and you can do just roll through all the different types on the screen at one time. So that'll work. That's really nice. Integrated with Quantum, every little piece, other than being in Quantum, it connects to the imaging part, it connects to the document and the contact management. For now, that's what we have. Who knows what we do add two later. But right now, those are the two outside modules that are connected. So that'll work out. Does it require additional licenses? We give it with a packet license. I don't know how many come up with exactly, but it doesn't use our license, so if it almost is connected up and running, we won't use a work license. What it does with you now is, if you connect everything outside the Quantum, Crystal, anything outside, it'll use a license. If you connect any outside business or business objects, like anything like that, or dashboard or anything outside, they will use a license. But this is that. This is a web tool connected to different big app. Multiple schema capable. If you have 5 companies, 5 schemas, you can write these to bring all the schemas to one window. So if you have MRO side, if you have sales side, if you want to see one window with all of it together, you can do that. You just specify a few rights to do it, a few, and you have to put in the schema that you're doing the data from. And then you can see all the data in one window. So that's really different. I don't think we have anything else that does that. I don't think anything goes out there. You go across schemas and move it forward. So Crystal can do some of that. I don't think Crystal even know if we have a quantity of that, right? Does Crystal know you practically great Crystal? Okay? Which is nice. I mean, most of you have one nothing. I mean, so that you can actually do a summary. You have, I mean, it does get on the 10 databases. So you can actually come up with where all of them show up on screen. So I'm going to show you what we have. I'll show you one of our sales databases that we have up right now.
Alrighty. Okay. Open it off. Okay. This is the basic. This is our sales dashboard. This is how we arrange it just for fun. It's kind of a really neat kind of setup. And actually, you guys can log in and look at this as well if you want to look at it. We broke things off. If you look at this one right here, annual, which is this first page here, which is really, really big. See, this is what happens when you set 4. We set 2 and 2, so 2 side by side. And on this side is a little bit too big. So you can set it up this way. What we normally do. You set up slideshow. Let's say in a standard mode, set up slideshow. Do it here. Pops it up. I know, it pops it up. There we go. Okay, here we go. So this is the part we're talking about where it runs by itself. We have slideshow. You can set that up in your warehouse to run just like that. Set it up however you want to. So everything on that grid now, which you don't have to make visible to anybody, could now, for a certain user, let's say we set up something like warehouse user, and that warehouse user logs in here, and now it'll run all this all day long. Conference room. We've done conference room setups where it just runs the sales figures in the conference room all day long. Even in the waiting room of the company, you could set up some type of graphs that show increased business, things like that. And that looks really, really good, other than showing your customers how well you're doing. But having this the same way to run these from your meetings that you're having at one time, or instead of having your reports being created and things like that, you have these running, or you can run them directly from the interface. So this will basically run in passive mode this way. Same thing, we does things like this, where you just say, well, we gotta know what airway bills are empty on your invoices at the end of the day. You find out this way as well. Part number groups. These are stack graphs, another type of graph, where you can see how much of a total percentage that you have by different colors. This is the aging. I'll show you the aging. Oh, no, there's nothing in that one. Sorry, let's do top 10. So those are your top 10 AR balances. And if you look down below, I'll show you how this contact works. Right on this graph down here, you have a contact. So now we know there's a contact attached to this AR, past due AR. So this is basically your contact. It's not much different than you see in Quantum. All the data is just the way you would see it in Quantum, except now you're not in Quantum. You're on a web 5,000 miles away. You log in. You can edit your header here just by looking at your header. You can say, okay, I want to do this. I want to change the status to non-payment, and then you want to close it. But non-payment now, what happens, the status has changed. Now, along with the event manager, that will kick the status, it will kick that email to whomever needs to get it, to the accounting person, whoever is responsible for this contact. So you can send that automatically to whoever. It's just so someone now, let's say someone is on site, a salesperson is on site with a customer, and they say, they're talking about this unpaid balance, and they say, well, they're not going to pay it, or they say they paid it, they got a check. You can put that contact in here, and then the accounting people will get an email within minutes of the status changing. Also, when they do this, by clicking on this little plus sign here, now you have the ability to add information. So you can just click on, basically paid, save, and now you've input a record into Quantum. And if you go to the right here, which I can't really see that says paid right there? It just added this contact to Quantum. So now everybody knows that you've added a contact to Quantum. So in just a few minutes now, for you being on site with a customer, you've now modified and modified Quantum and added records to Quantum. So you won't have to go back and VPN in or do any of that to get into actually running Quantum in your office. You can actually do all this from here. So this is actually really popular because, like I said, we do this in support. Our Spoke group uses this every day to log new contacts. The imaging part, that was fun, was this one right here. So here we have basically all of the stock lines that are on quarantine. And I think I have the one that works here. It's this one right here. So you see the image here? You click on the image, and then you find the findings. So it actually opens up directly from, no matter where you are, it'll open up the image to what's attached to that stock line. And it's not just the stock line. Anywhere there's images attached, whatever you tell it in that grid we looked at before, where you can decide what type of code you want to show, it'll show that. If you put no type in, what does it do, Dominic? No type, will it show all the images? If you don't put any type in, does it show all the images? Yeah, okay. So no type shows you everything. I'm not sure you want to do that because like in our Quantum, each of your records have everything you've done with us signed. So we don't want to do that. It's too much information. So you want to be specific on what you want to see. So if you want to show companies maybe their resale licenses or their quality document or something that they've signed or sent back to you, you can do that. And so the salesperson on that side, on site or outside, can actually look and say, okay, good, they've done their quality survey, they've filled this out. Before I go out, you're already ahead of the game, you know what's happening. And even print it out from here. So anything that has imaging attached, we'll have it here. For a second, please, fun. We have quite a few. I think it's the Whip Center. This is just. So if you have the drill down, so here we have, like I said, the pivot table, basic pivot table, shows you the graph, what's happening with your AR due by due date. If you want to know, basically inside this 30 days, you want to see who's in that 30-day group, you would see to the right. You would see then who those people are, who makes up that group that's inside the 30 days. So you can drill down more than one time. Let's say you want, I think this one has actually more than one, but you can actually drill down from one graph to another graph to detail, or detail all the way down. So you can pretty much go down to the nitty gritty. And usually I think one or two is probably the max I've seen. Usually one is all I've seen. So you can tell here that this is grouped by 30 days. You want to click on it, you can see it, and then you see the detail to it. So I don't know if you want to have more information than that on your dashboard. I think that's pretty good. That gives you pretty much the detail of what you want. Instead of going into Quantum, running the report, or going to do a filter by who's past due and all of that, you're right here. You have it right at your fingertips. You have your configuration right here. So it gives you a powerful tool just to have outside of Quantum. And it feels like you're in Quantum. It has all the data there. You can input the data in there, but it's not there. You can be far away. It's just a web browser. It's just a web browser. It'll work on your phone. It'll work anywhere you want it to work. It doesn't have to be. It's not specific to anything. Right now we're using Chrome, but we're working on getting it to work well with IE because of a few issues. But Chrome and Firefox, it all works fine. You can see the images. You can see all of that from wherever you are. So it's like a web interface, basically, what it feels like. And a lot of people use it. A lot of people have come up with other programs that they use. I know last year we had a lot of demonstrations of what people have done with ASP.NET and how they do it and all of this, but everything we've done is already in there. It's already in Quantum. And last year we had it, but we didn't show it. Now, like we do with a lot of things, we have it for a while. We use it ourselves. If it looks good for us, then we open it up to everybody. So now that we've pretty much beaten it up a little bit and it works well, now it's out for everybody else to do. So now when you set it up and get it done, like I said, it's about a 15-minute run to put it together, then you're off and running. This shows you here, I'll show you in these little dashed sections what we have. Now, this is not all of them for sure, but this is some of them. The AR got a really good thing, AP, AG, and things like that. Inventory. In category. Now these categories, we've added more. This is just what this has. We've added more categories to it so you can actually group them together however you want. But as we get more, when you get an upgrade of Quantum, in the release notes, they'll say what we've added more. We've added more of these, and we get input from everybody. When I go on site and someone says, hey, I want this and this and this, all right. We put them in, and then everybody gets it. Because this is relatively new. This is, for us, it's fine. We've had this running for some time, so we already know what we have and we want. But now we don't know what you want. Asking people what they want, no one really knows what they want until they start to think about it for a while. So think about it. Think about what you want to see, and then we'll start adding it to Quantum. Someone was talking about adding companies. So you want to add companies from the web. You want to go, when somebody's on site, they find a new customer, they have their business card in front of them, and they add the company to Quantum, add the Rolodex entry, and click OK. Now it's in Quantum. It's a restricted entry, but it's still in Quantum so that they can toss the card. Not a bad idea. We didn't think about it. So that's something that we can do. So anything like that that would save time and effort, where we'll put into it eventually, and it'll grow. So right now, like I said, there's like 20 basics, But I did 5 in 20 minutes, so just so it doesn't really, you can keep on putting them together and doing it that way. So it all depends on what you want to see. Is there any questions from anybody so far? Yes.
So, just going to mention, I've been setting this up at AJ Living, and I can see the potential. I can tell it's going to be quite a game changer for AJ Walter. And I'll tell you why. They have a ton of crystal reports that they have written on, and if you look at their event manager, it's enormous. What this is going to do is it's going to get rid of about 80% of the floating crystal reports that are scheduled and going around. Benefit I see of this as well is versus crystal is that it updates in real time. You know, I like the setting where it does an automatic refresh. So if you have 2 monitors and you want to see how many contacts you have open and assigned to you, it's going to automatically, you know, refresh right there, the refresh rate. You can set it to an hour, automatic, 5 seconds. Unlike Crystal, you would have to rerun the report, or if it's scheduled, you have to wait till, you know, the next time comes around. So when I was in the process of setting this up, what I realized is every department at AJ Walter is really going to benefit from this, and just a few that I want to highlight to give everyone else, you know, an idea of how we're using it, is we have about, let's say, 30 field salespeople that work remotely. What they're able to do is they're able to get on their iPad after they visit an airline or a potential customer or whatnot, and they can get on their iPad at their hotel or in their car, and they can actually update their trip report. They can put the notes of who they visited, what the visit was like, all that information right on this dashboard from an iPad or in your iPhone, and it will update form instantly. And that right there, like I said, is a big game changer. Gets rid of paper, gets rid of email, and then you can have reports off of that. And then another way that we're using it that's going to be, you know, really handy is we process a lot of repairs, and so on average we have about 4,500 repair orders that we each week that we create. And with all these repair orders, each one has a contact, because a lot of them we're waiting for a quote from the shop or a re-quote, and then we're also waiting for someone to pick a vendor if we don't know which repair facility they're going to send it to. And all these are contacts. So what it's going to do is, again, with the contacts on there, the team leader can see, you know, what's in everyone's queue, how many, you know, we're waiting for each person, how many parts need to go up repair, and then how many open cores, you know, you have, you know, for each team. So it gives you that high overview look for, you know, maximize productivity and make sure that everything's flowing. So again, I think one of the key things of this is that it's gonna streamline us and give us, you know, it's gonna knock out around 80% of the crystal reports that we have floating out there. And one thing that we really do like is that it has all the same security as well, and there's no licenses that you have to deal with either. So it's pretty cool.
Right, and that we. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, answer. Well, you're right. A lot of the little Excel queries that have been floating around, that everybody has something different, and everybody has all these that actually use a license. Every time you touch a Microsoft query, the one license is gone. So if you leave it up, or sometimes it doesn't release correctly, it becomes a problem. So if you take that Microsoft query and just put it into the dashboard, it's there. You have it. You can click on it whenever you want to. It releases, doesn't care, and you can see that. And then you can export it to Excel. You notice there's exporting to Excel functions. We can export all this data to Excel, which is right here. Oh no, that one. Let's see what they are. Yeah, we took it off. Usually the icon's over here to change to Excel. Oh, right here. So you can take that, click that right there, and it'll go to it'll download to Excel. So you really don't have to do anything about it. It's the same thing. And if you want to group it differently like this, if you put that group there, it'll group it by the date. All these fields you can group however you want to, and then save it so it's always saved that way for you. So the screen is customizable for you. You can put all of that into Excel. So basically those little queries are gone, right? So now you can kind of clear out all of those little queries that have been built over time that maybe are not even consistent anymore. I've noticed that when I start with a query, by the time it gets down the road to 5 clients, it's completely changed. The numbers don't match anymore, and then no one knows what's changed on it, so now I have to go back and start again and build them again. So now you put them in here, you lock it so no one has access to it, and there you have something that's complete and it's always the same. So that's probably the best way to do it. That's what Jason was saying. They have a lot of these little reports, and not elaborate reports, just little reports. You know, like I showed you, the one that showed no airway bill. That's one report, no airway bill. They got to run no airway bill. And the event manager is scheduling these, 100, 200 reports a day. Do you really need all the reports? It's right here. You can actually look at it and see, and export that out to Excel if you want to, and then show anybody or screenshot it, whatever you want to do. But it shows you right there where the problem is. Yes.
This is amazing. Since I first learned about this from you in December, I see the advances you've made. It's incredible, really amazing. So my couple of questions are, first of all, you alluded to it, but the direction could be that this can be the new user interface for many of the employees, correct? Are you going to continue with being able to add more information through these screens?
Right. We don't know what Emily is looking for. So we know for just ours that we want to create contacts, not just edit contacts. So we want to add contacts from scratch. So that's the next thing. We're going to add the contacts from scratch, so you can do all of that from scratch. And the next thing is to add companies in the Rolodex. So I think if everybody wants to do it that way, wants to go that route, we're going to go that route. Because it's kind of an important thing now that you can have a light kind of web interface to do this. So you don't have to spend the time and the effort to log into Quantum. I know how it is when I'm remote. I'm gone 90% of the time. I'm here for a few weeks a year. So logging in, RDPing into the office here, running Quantum, putting everything on, it's kind of a pain. Especially if the hotel room doesn't want RDP, doesn't allow this, you can't do anything anyway. So this way, you can do whatever you want. This way you just log in, it's quick, boom, 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 you're done, and you're out. And then it updates Quantum. It's really nice. And it's a secure way of doing it too. You use your Quantum password to log in. You have a secure certificate set up. If you want to post this like we do on the web, it's certificate. So there's a lot of security built into it as well, and it's just an easy way to do things.
Yeah, it's amazing. I see so much use for it with my customers, reducing just, the number of reports and how we deliver them, the event managers, et cetera. But the second question is, would you be able to attach images through here? Like, let's say when you were adding a contact manager, would you also be able to add images through there? Is that where you're going to go? Or
there's the man. Yeah. No, I'm sure that it is. I'm sure if people request it, we're going to start throwing things in like that. To scan an image would be interesting. That was an interesting idea, to scan it directly, connect it to there, and then we connect it to Quantum and put it in Quantum imaging. That's something else for the list. I'll put it on the list. This has been a really good group because everybody's giving me some really nice input on it. So now we can start putting this into what we have. Usually when I go on site, no one knows what they want. So if you give me what you think you want, we can kind of mold it into something where everybody can use the same, and we'll put it into the release for future releases of it. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I was curious to know how smartphone friendly this is specifically when you try to add information.
How it displays the information?
Like how smartphone friendly would this be?
Actually, it is. It's a web page, and it actually works pretty well. I use it on my iPhone all the time. It's a little bit bigger iPhone, but I can see everything, and you can resize some of these differently. I made some of the tabs, and I shrunk everything down to make it so it works better on the iPhone. It depends on how you want to display it. If you want something to display like a large screens and you want to set things up differently, I would make them a little bit different because I can't make it resize perfectly well for the iPhone.
So let's take that scenario. I'm in the office and I've got a big screen, so I pull it up one way, and if I'm on the road and I want to check it out on my smartphone, I would pull it up a different way.
No, it'll look fine on the smartphone. When it's large like that, it'll just be one. Like let's say if you have one page like this with one grid, it looks beautiful. If you start stacking them up side by side, then you have to scroll over to the right, scroll over, because it becomes so small and it's hard to see. But if you put one per page, and I've noticed that works better, if you have one of these grids per page, it looks beautiful in the smartphone. You'll see it, you see all the data, you don't have to do much scrolling. But if you have more than one, then you have to start scrolling back and forth, up and down, and to see all of the data. You can't shrink it that much. Some of them have a lot of data fields, and it just becomes a problem.
Well, and that's what I was curious about for updating, your example of adding context. How realistic is it to use a smartphone to try to add data?
Oh, Dad, it's pretty easy. I mean, it actually, I have the 6 Plus, and it actually, clicking on the plus and adding it, it's just, once you get in that box, you have a keyboard, and you just type in anything you want to, and then click save. So basically, you have the keyboard. If you type notes or type text messages, it works out pretty well. So that's how I started getting into it, and actually trying to update my contacts remotely. I'm like, okay, let me add it this way, and start adding it. The keyboard opens, and once the keyboard opens, you type whatever you want to. The letters are small, but you save it, and it's done. So it actually works. Actually, we'll log on to this after we're done. I'll log on to this with my iPhone, and we'll see what it looks like.
Since you're able to use SQL variables, are you able to set parameter fields that the user could fill in the variable, like if they wanted to see like different dates on the applet or?
Yes, we have some that have date ranges, some that have different variables, and we've already talked about that already. We just haven't figured out what everybody wants to have yet. So we don't want to build it if no one's going to use it. So if we get feedback that, hey, you want a date range on this, or we want to be able to filter this by multiple departments or things like that, fantastic, then we'll do something like that. But we always know, we wait for input before we do anything new. Otherwise, we're going to build it and we're going to stare at it and no one's going to use it. So we know what we think you want, but we don't know what you want. So you tell us what you're looking for, and if you want date ranges in some of these grids, or you want things like that, fantastic. But until we know exactly what you're looking to see, we're gonna kind of build what we think. But so we have more feedback, the better. Anything else? Oh, and looks like we're done. 1 minute. Wow. Okay. All right. I think we're done. Thanks everybody for coming.